Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm going to be discussing why, in my opinion, the Sith of the Brotherhood of Darkness were the weakest group of Sith within the expanded universe lore. For those of you who are not yet aware of what the Brotherhood of Darkness is, or where they take place in the timeline of the expanded universe, I would recommend watching my previous video, Beginner's Timeline on the Ancient Sith, before continuing this video. Before we begin this discussion, I wish to make one thing clear. I believe that there is a mixture of reasons that led to the Brotherhood of Darkness being as weak as it was. To start, we must understand the out-of-universe intent and reasoning involved with the Brotherhood of Darkness, which was first created as background lore for the story of Dark Forces Jedi Knight. I am basing my information here off of what the Essential Reader's Companion tells us. Here, it is explained that the Brotherhood of Darkness is consistently referred to as Jedi, that Lord Kaan appears older with white hair, and that the location of the Thought Bomb was in a different location than what is described in either Dark Horse Comics series Jedi vs. Sith and that of Darth Bane, Path of Destruction. Clearly, there's a difference in depiction between that of the Brotherhood of Darkness and Dark Forces Jedi Knight, and that in later depictions. Is there an explanation for this? The Essential Reader's Companion provides us a plausible explanation. We are told that in stories involving Darksiders predating the release of Revenge of the Sith in 2005, they were oftentimes kept distinct from that of the Sith using titles such as Dark Jedi. This would explain the difference between Path of Destruction and Dark Forces in their descriptions of the Brotherhood of Darkness. Now that we have the information regarding the distinctions of the Brotherhood of Darkness across the three main stories involving them, I believe that it is fair to claim that the last of the three, which is Darth Bane, Path of Destruction, can be considered the most accurate and reliable for the overall narrative of the expanded universe. With this out of the way, we can begin discussing why I view them as overall weak compared to all the other Sith orders. My first point is the overall force sensitivity of those throughout the galaxy. This will require crafting a chain of logic to allow for it to be better understood. I will be relying on 4 main points to craft this chain. Number 1. While the Sith of the Brotherhood of Darkness had academies on countless worlds, the Korriban Academy was the one where those with the highest potential are taken to be trained. This is explicitly told to us by Quartus, who is the headmaster of the Korriban Academy in the novel Darth Bane, Path of Destruction. Thus, only the pupils with the highest potential out of those available for this era would have been taken to Korriban. Number 2. The test and competition amongst the acolytes of the Korriban Academy properly tests them and ensures the fact that they are both devoted to the dark side and that the Sith Masters of the Korriban are able to properly judge the ability and power of the acolyte. Number 3. The acolytes at the top of the academy were taught the secret to force lightning by Quartus, and that any failing was that of force power and not technique. I am basing this assumption off of the fact that Bane was capable of creating lightning first try from being taught by a student that was taught by Quartus, and that thus said student at best had an equal understanding and capability to teach the ability to that of Quartus, while most likely she did not. Number 4. This was a power that all of the acolytes that were taught struggled in. We are explicitly told this from the perspective of the Sith acolyte Githany, that even the Academy's very top pupil, Sirik, could at best make a few sparks after a full day of practicing the technique, and that none of the students did any better. As stated in point 3, any failing in this technique can be safely assumed to be a failing of force power and not technical skill. As a result of this, one can presume that the other students of this academy would perform even worse, and that any force user of lower rank or not at the academy at all would do worse than the students at this academy. Thus, we end up with only a few out of thousands in this order who are capable of a force power that is considered common and more basic out of the offensive dark side powers. As an example of this, I will point to Star Wars The Old Republic MMO. Here, the enemy acolyte NPCs on Korriban are capable of utilizing force lightning in combat. You can see this demonstrated in both the Tomb of Makaractus and the Tomb of Nagasato. Along with this, in the Sith Inquisitor storyline, both the main PC and a rival acolyte present the use of force lightning several times on Korriban. The Sith Inquisitor gets the option to torture another acolyte while it was observed by a Sith Overseer utilizing the power of Sith Force Lightning. And later, inside the tomb of Marka Ragnos, the Sith Inquisitor must utilize the power of Sith Force Lightning to access a Sith holocron hidden inside of the tomb. As further evidence, the rival Sith Acolyte, Fawn, is given permission to kill a fellow Acolyte, utilizing the power of Sith Force Lightning. At no point in time do the Overseers show any noticeable sign of approval or interest over the use of this force power by Acolytes. Before one claims that this could be a simple matter of different writers writing force powers differently, I will point out the fact that Drew Karpyshyn, the author of Darth Bane Path of Destruction, was a lead writer for one of the main class stories in Star Wars The Old Republic, and that he wrote the controversial tie-in novel Revan to accompany the game. I have also heard of Inquisitors utilizing this technique within the Coruscant Knights series, as well as generic Dark Jedi being credited with this force power in the Jedi Academy sourcebook. Furthermore, a generic Night Sister weaponized this very same force power against Darth Maul in a comic, when she was currently not residing on the planet of Dathomir. In conclusion, even the top pupils at the top academy for the Brotherhood of Darkness are already lesser in force power than these examples of force users within other eras. Secondly, we have philosophy. This one is discussed a lot more within Darth Bane Path of Destruction, and thus I will spend less time covering it. The Sith of this era appear to have mostly gotten rid of infighting, not completely, but mostly. They've given up the title of Darth as they believe that it breeds competition. They believe that the Sith that came before do not have any beneficial knowledge or techniques. In some ways, I feel like the Brotherhood of Darkness could be summarized in a manner similar to that of the book Animal Farm. You know the saying, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. That's how I feel of the way that the leadership for the Brotherhood of Darkness works. I think that the idea that led Darth Bane to being as against the Brotherhood of Darkness as he was, which was the idea of several lesser Sith killing a superior master, had likely been occurring for several generations during the New Sith Wars, until the Brotherhood of Darkness was formed under Lord Kaan. I believe that the Brotherhood of Darkness was needed, as the Sith of this era had been too fractured and warring amongst themselves in what could be better described as city-states. Imagine the Warlord era following Endor. Furthermore, I don't necessarily believe that the Sith rule of two is better than that of the Brotherhood of Darkness. I see both as two extremes. I think that both the Lost Tribe of the Sith, as well as the Sith Empires under Marka Ragnos and Emperor Vitiate, show that it is very much possible to have a greater number of Sith within the Order. Granted, those all had a Sith who was far superior to the rest and was capable of keeping them in line. Marka Ragnos was one of a very few number of Sith to die of old age. Emperor Vitiate is self-explanatory, while the leader of the Lost Tribe of the Sith, Darsh Vol, is credited with having much the power of Luke Skywalker by the time of the Fate of the Jedi series. Before I finish this video, I will give the Brotherhood of Darkness credit where I believe credit is due. They managed to wage a galaxy-wide war where they held the advantage for a time, and they had the potential to wipe out the Jedi Order. They also trained the Sith Lord Darth Bane, who is very much impressive in his own right. Both Lord Kaan and the Twi'lek Blade Master Qasim impressed me to a degree, and the Sith of this order managed to work two powerful rituals at Ruusan, the Firestorm Ritual and the Thought Bomb, the latter of which I covered in a previous video where I mentioned how it is connected to Emperor Vitiate and the Anathema Ritual. So, what do you all think? Were the Sith of the Brotherhood of Darkness overall weaker than other Sith? Was I exaggerating? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support the channel, please feel free to like, subscribe, and recommend my videos to your friends.